Okay, so welcome to this masterclass on Neptune moving into Aries. Now, I did a masterclass on this last year because Neptune sort of dipped his toes into Aries last year, and then because he's such a slow-moving planet, he moved into the first sort of degree or so of Aries, and then when the retrograde time came along, that comes along every year, he retrograded all the way back into Pisces. So he's still in Pisces now, but in direct motion, and he'll be there until the 26th of this month, and then he will fully move into Aries for the next approximately 14 years. So when we look, all of the planets have their own function or their own influence over us, and Neptune is the planet of illusion, deception, imagination, betrayal, and spiritual awareness. So he allows us to look at things from a higher spiritual perspective. But he also, because he's such a slow-moving planet, it takes him approximately 15 years to move through a sign of the zodiac. So because he's so slow-moving, he the way I sort of see it, he works in 5 year almost blocks. So if we look at this transit as being 15 years and not 14 years, and just look at it more approximately like that, those 3 5 year blocks are really important. So the first 5 years of Neptune in any sign of the zodiac will be 5 years of illusion, of not quite knowing what to do with this energy. So, and then the middle 5 years is when we start to realize, okay, maybe this isn't what I think it is. Maybe there's some things here that don't look real, or maybe I need to look a bit more deeper to find the reality and what's really going on. And then the final 5 years, we break through the illusion and we see the reality of what's really going on and how to use this energy for our highest good and the highest good of everyone concerned. So the planets, as they move, they affect us all individually, but then they also affect the collective as well. So, we all are receiving the same energy at the same time, and we all have our own choice what we're going to do with that energy, but it will have an influence on the collective. So we've just had 15 years of Neptune and Pisces. So the collective energy there was very much the energy of illusion. The last 15 years was very much a time where we had to see through the illusion of who was responsible and who wasn't, who was good for us and who wasn't. And this is on a global level as well as personal level. So what we really found over the last 15 years is one of the things that we've been encouraged to do is to find our tribe, find the right people to be around, to be with, that allow you to be the best version of yourself in every way. And so we had to see through the illusion of the people that we thought were good for us. And this everything from our leaders to our friends and our neighbors. It's everybody. It's not just on that big collective level. If we look at the picture there, we started to see how leaders and people around the world weren't really working for the best needs of the people. And this has become more and more obvious as time has gone on. So, but on a personal level, we had to see for ourselves, had to see through our own illusions and what we thought was great. So if we look at it, an example of this would be like the celebrities of Hollywood, but in particular over the last 15 years, everybody follows what they do. Everybody looks to them for, some sort of guidance over what they're going to wear or what they're going to do or what they're going to be into or whatever it might be. And we started to see that this was, they're just people just like us and they're no greater than we are. And that was a real illusion. And there was also the illusion that our governments and the people in power, have our best interests at heart and take care of us all the time. That became a bit of an illusion as well. And then we also had the illusion of, the importance of social media and people having to see what you're doing and share, and you having to share what you're doing and everyone being interested. That was all an illusion as well. And, now we've sort of come out of that energy. We can look back at some of those things and think, why did I think that was so important? Why did I put so much of my time and energy into looking this way or behaving this way because everybody else was doing it when it actually never really aligned with me? So this last year, 2025, has been the year of the snake. So all of these things sort of come in together where, at the end of Neptune and Pisces, we were seeing through the illusion. And at the end of the year of the snake, we've shedded a skin. So we've gotten rid of what doesn't fit us anymore, what doesn't feel aligned with us anymore, what isn't good for us, what isn't bringing out the best in us. But for a lot of us, because it's a slow moving planet, a lot of the things that we've been asked to let go of, particularly also 2025 being a number 9 year of letting go and endings, were often things that within that illusion you believed you still needed. You believed you still needed that person in your life for support, or you believed you still needed that job because it was the only job you could get, or whatever it was. But this was all an illusion because as we're finding, new things are coming our way, new opportunities, new friends, new jobs, new places to live. All of these things are changing, and we've got to be able to go with that change. So as we step out of this energy, we've stepped out of this energy of Pisces, or stepping out of it, and into Aries, it almost becomes, I believe it's like the time of the spiritual warrior. It's the time where we take all of our spiritual dreams, aspirations, ideas, thoughts, ideals, and we actually make them real. We turn them into something that we can use over the next 14, 15 years as Neptune moves through Aries. And so, yeah, so Neptune's a spiritual, illusionary planet. Wherever he sits in your chart is like where you can't see the woods for the trees. And so it's always a slow journey to find out what he's actually hiding from you, or what you need to see through to make the best use of this energy. So Aries energy, which Neptune's about to step into, what's particularly important about this is that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So when a planet, especially an outer planet that moves very slowly, moves into a new sign of the zodiac, it brings a whole change to the earth plane, because it creates a whole new cycle of being, of acting, of working through this type of energy. So and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So we've got a planet moving into starting a whole new cycle again. So it's been 150 years since Neptune was last in Aries. So 150 years ago was the American Revolution, the American Civil War. And so what this so with Neptune in Aries, and also with with Pluto in Aquarius, was also in at the American Revolution, the French Revolution. Pluto was in Aquarius, which he's back in now as well. So this is very, very powerful, because two of these major planets that bring massive change over a long, not a long time, but not overnight, but over a period of years, will bring these massive changes, and they're aligned. So that means that the changes that are coming, we can't deny them, that the world is going to change massively over the next few years, and it needs to. It is, the world is a very broken place at the moment. All the foundations that we've built our money systems on, our health systems, our education systems, they're all broken. And for years and years we keep trying to fix what's broken, and stick another bandage on it, or just build it a little bit differently. But really we've got to actually start from the bottom and create brand new foundations to work from, new systems, new ways of being, because otherwise we're going to keep going back to what's broken. And we know we've got to learn, and that's why this whole new cycle of energy really gives everybody, the collective, and each of us as individuals, the opportunity to make a massive change, and live our lives in a very different way. So, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, it carries the I am energy. And so, being the first sign of the zodiac, Arian people are very good at believing that they come first. It tends to be a very competitive energy, very headstrong energy, very spontaneous. It's all about, I know what to do and I'm going to take action straight away. Because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the planet of action. And so when we're under the influence of Aries, we don't, under Pisces, we think and we wonder and we fantasize and we imagine and we go off into la la land. But under the energy of Aries, it's very black and white. We make decisions instantly, and we're very, very good at putting ourselves first. And this is also something that I feel is very important for humanity at the moment, is that for too long we've been caught up in these things where we look after everybody else's needs and forget about our own. And I always remember, when I first started doing my training with the masters, the first thing the master channeled to us was that the number one lesson of spirituality, and that is that there is nobody in the world more important than you. You have to put yourself first, not selfishly, not egotistically, not like you're the king of the world, but in a way that if you give to you, then you've always got more to give to others. But if you limit how much you give to yourself, then you're going to have to limit everything you give out to everybody else as well. So it is really important that we really sort of believe in this, but at the same time, we're being very much encouraged to pursue our dreams, but they have to be grounded in reality when we use Aries energy. So what we're going to find is we're going to have the ability over these next few years to take our dreams and fantasies and ideas and make them real in some way. But of course, there's going to be challenges with this as well, because if Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and the energy that or what it encourages us all to do is to put ourselves first. I mean, we need to put ourselves first, but we've got to be careful how we do that, because we can't all be in charge. It can't always be all about you, and it can't always be your way. We've got to sort of still be open to negotiate and work with other people. So this is going to be the first part, I feel, of the illusion of the first 5 years of Neptune and Aries, will be this need to this need within us all to that what we feel is important, and that we need to speak up, and we need to be heard, and we need to know what to do and what to say. But we can't always have the limelight. We can't always be the one that's right. And so we have to look at how we can work as individuals to help other people, but not make it all about you. So what we're going to find is going to come up over the next sort of 14 years is we're going to have a lot deeper understanding of what our own personal natural talents are. And these might be things that you've glossed over, that you didn't even know were there, that you have ignored, or whatever it might be, but they are there within you, and they're going to come to the surface as your gifts and talents that are going to get you through over the next 14 to 15 years. And so this is where our confidence starts to come in. Because while we had Neptune and Pisces, that age of illusion, as now that we're just about to come out of this energy, we're coming out of it having shed that skin and knowing what doesn't work for us anymore. Whether that's a friendship that you have with somebody, or a job that you do, or a way that you live, or a perspective that you view the world through, you've let go of something and you don't want to go grabbing hold of it again. You've let it go and it's time for it to go because you've outgrown it. And so when we let go of things and outgrow them, when we shed a skin, a new skin grows. And that new skin is the one that's going to, help us for the next 12 years to slip through life and to get through like the snake does with that beautiful skin on it. But that skin is a whole fresh new opportunity for you as well. It's a new skin, a new way of looking at life, a fresh look, a fresh new you. And that's what we're stepping into 2026 with, the year of new beginnings, with this fresh new energy. And we're also stepping into the year of the horse. So the year of the horse, if you imagine a horse it's very, very powerful animal. It can move very, very fast. It's got a lot of sustainability, a lot of tenacity, and it has a very, very special connection with its rider. And this is also, I feel, where the dragon works are going to come in more strongly this year as well, because I feel dragons and horses, the connection people have with their dragon or their horse is very similar. It's that real companionship, that sort of that partnership, really. And so when we're in the year of the horse, we're being very much encouraged to see the horse as your higher self and to really, really connect with that intuitively, so that whatever action you're taking is aligned with who you are and aligned with what you really want. So I talked about this in another video I did, that with the year of the horse, there's different ways you can look at the horse, and what you don't want to be is a rocking horse and going back and forth and back and forth and going nowhere. And you also don't want to be gun shy, and a horse that as soon as that you hear a noise, you take off somewhere into the distance, flying off into the wild blue yonder with no direction. That's not going to work either. What you need to be is a thoroughbred. You need to be a well-trained, well-looked after and maintained vehicle for movement forward that's going to carry your dreams and goals through to this next year. So with Neptune and Aries, the challenges are going to be that we're all learning the importance of standing in our own power and having our own thoughts and not being afraid to say these. Because for too long, if you had an idea that was different, or that something, or thought about something that other people didn't think was okay, or was completely outside the box, then you didn't talk about it. You shut up. Or if you did talk about it, people might have knocked you down, or judged you or ridiculed you for this new idea that you've got. But we're stepping into this energy where new ideas and innovation are going to be the most desirable thing in a person. So this is going to be really great for anybody who's an Aquarian and who has very strong Aquarian energy in their chart, because you're the people who it comes very naturally to think outside the box, to come up with new solutions to old problems. And this is exactly what the world needs at the moment, are the new solutions to the old problems. Because we cannot keep playing the same tape over and over again. That just doesn't work. So it is going to be important over these next 15 years that we really look at where we can use our power, and not that we can't always be in charge, and we can't always be the person that gets to say everything. One of the biggest life lessons for Aryan people in general is to learn to listen. Arians are very good at taking charge. It's a fire sign. It comes naturally to an Arian and to Arian energy to step up, to be in charge, to be independent, to do their own thing. And, most Arian people don't particularly enjoy being part of a corporation or an organization. They'd much rather be their own boss, be a contractor, be a consultant, be doing something like that. So again, we're going to get pulled to be more independent and more, working for ourselves and what is best for us. But we've got to do this in a way that is sustainable. And that's one of the challenges with Aries, because it's so headstrong and it's so, reactive and active and everything that it does, that it just takes off on tangents and doesn't do its due diligence, doesn't think into things properly, think, is this actually a good idea for me? Is this going to work out for me? It's just like, oh, that's exciting. I'm going to go after that. And so we're going to have to be very discerning in what we go after, so that we can make sure that we're putting our energy in the right place where it can be used the best by yourself and by those that are going to benefit from you being around them as well. So we've got to learn that, we're going to be feeling a lot more courageous, a lot more self-assured, but within that, there's going to be challenges because everybody's going to be feeling that way. And we can't all be right at the same time. Well, we can all be right at the same time, but we can't all be, the person that gets to be in charge all the time or takes the lead all the time. So we're going to have to learn to be not subservient, but learn when it's right for you to take a step up and when it's right for somebody else to do that, and not be afraid to give that energy out there and let it be that way. So so as we step into this Aries energy, I really feel like it's the energy of the spiritual warrior, where we've had 15 years of Neptune and Pisces, where we really explored our spirituality. And, not everybody has. And spirituality, a lot of people have sort of used, instead of exploring their spirituality, have explored their creativity or have explored their intuition or explored things that encourage feeling their way into things and feeling what's right for you. But we got too caught up in all of this feeling, and we got lost in it. And so we kind of lost the facts of things. And then all the conspiracy theories came in and all the misinformation and all the information. So we're really in a sense now where you look out, you want to find out about something, and there's a million different interpretations of what's going on and what's really going on. And so this is really forcing each and every one of us to learn the importance of thinking for yourself. Because for too long we've allowed other people, to say, well, everybody else is doing this, so you should do that as well. Or everybody else looks like that, so you need to look like that as well. Or everybody else does their job this way, you need to do your job this way as well. But it doesn't work, because deep within each and every one of us, we're feeling there's another way we can do this. There's another way we can look at this. And we're going to start to feel more and more confident, and it will be more and more acceptable for you to be you and you to do you. But of course, it's going to upset people, because when we change and sometimes when we take our power back and when we've been, I don't know, maybe subservient before or given in too much before, it can be very hard then to suddenly step into your power. Now, the opposite of Aries is Libra. So whenever we're looking at a big planet making a move through a certain sign of the zodiac, we've got to look at what's going to be opposing it at the same time, and that will be Libra. So as Aries rules the independent person, the I am energy, Libra rules relationships. So our relationships are going to be tested during this time as well. And this testing isn't about it's about making you aware of who is good for you and who's not. And one of the things that we've really realized with the year of the snake and the number 9 year of 2025 is that we've all let go of something. And more often than not, it's been someone. Most people have had someone go from their life. So usually not so much necessarily falling out with people, but just people that aren't aligned with your energy anymore. They're not bad people, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're not for you to move forward with. And so anything that's in your life at the moment that feels like it's slipping away from you and you don't understand why, and so you're still trying to hold on to it because maybe it's been in your life a long time, maybe you think you really need it, maybe you think you can't survive without it. If it's been taken away from you at this time, it's meant to be taken away from you. So please try not to hold on to anything that's leaving. It's leaving so that you can step into a new energy because you've outgrown that energy. And like I said, it's not that that's bad or anything's wrong with it. It's just that you've outgrown it. And when we stop growing and evolving, we start to stagnate and rot. So we have to keep moving with what's presented to us. So there's always a flow around you that you can step into that's what will help you to move forward. But if you ignore that flow and still try to hold on to the past and what was there before, then you're going to make yourself really unhappy. You've got to realize if these things are going, they're meant to go. As much as it might be something that you really want or that breaks your heart to let go of, whatever. And it's hard. It is hard. But this is where we've always got to come back to, and where this Aries energy can really help. That you have to put yourself first. There is nobody in this world more important than you. And we really have to learn this if we're going to do our best for what's happening in the world and what we're moving forward into. So, another thing that that we're really aware of is Saturn is not too far behind Neptune at this time moving into Aries as well. So it's quite interesting at the moment. We've got a lot of inner planets moving since November. Mercury, Mars, and Venus have been moving into the same sign of the Sun since about October last year. And so they've done it in Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and they'll do it in Aquarius as well. So as these little planets are moving closer together, some of the bigger planets are moving close together as well. And what that's meaning is that we're getting more energy that's going to be helping us all to move in the same way. So it's not conflicting energy. It's not, some people feeling they have to do it this way and some people feeling they have to do it that way. It's going to be that same energy of what do you want for you and how are you going to make that real and put it into practice. And you're not going to do it by trampling on other people or taking it from other people. You're going to do it by just having that quiet, calm confidence in yourself. This is what makes sense to me. This is what I want for me. So this is what I'm going to enact for me. And so it's been a long time for a lot of people who since they have been able to put themselves first. We get caught up in being mothers, we get caught up in being parents in general, we get caught up in everything that's going on around us, and we don't spend nearly enough time focusing on ourselves. And so, what we might see is some of the negative things that are going to come out of this as we work through the illusion of our independence is that belief that it's all about you and that you can do it all yourself, and that no, I've written down, I've channeled down here that we can idealize independence, bravery, and freedom, but we may not know who we truly are because of this Pisces energy we've come out of from before. So we could overinflate ourselves and think we're a lot more important than what we are, but we can also underinflate ourselves and not step up into what we're capable of. So we've got the first sort of 5 years of this transit will be about that, getting that balance right. When do I speak up and make a fuss and demand that I have my own way or take the lead? And when do I take a step back and let somebody else do it? So, there will be friction. And when we look at this collectively, of course, when we look at if we apply all of this energy to the different governments and countries around the world, they're all going to be wanting to come first and think they know best too as well. And especially if their leaders have got strong planets in Aries, they're the ones that are going to be activated the most by this energy. So so what we've got to be very aware of moving forward is how the collective are going to react, how the powers that be are going to react to this energy as well. Because if it's affecting you, it's affecting them too. So this is where we have to really look at our own strength and know what is right and what is wrong for you. And what is right and wrong for me may be completely different to what's right and wrong for you. But at the same time, we have the universal laws where we know deep within each and every one of us what is right and what is wrong. And we know when we look around at some of the things that are going on in the world, how wrong they are, that, nobody has the right to take somebody else's life in any situation. Just as one example of what's going on in the world at the moment. And so all of this has got to come to a sort of a conclusion, or maybe not a conclusion this year, but things are going to be, one of the things with Neptune moving into Aries is complete revelation. While he was in Pisces, it was too easy in that age of illusion to hide everything or to pretend it was something else or to sort of gloss over it or sweep it under the carpet, whatever. But Aries is black and white. It's like what you see is what you get. So it's going to make things very clear and very plain. And this will be a big, things are going to be revealed that, some of us are well aware of what's going on. Other people are completely oblivious or haven't woken up yet. And everybody has their time to wake up and realize what's going on in the world and what your role is to play in it. And this is a really important thing for us all to remember is that if we choose our lives before we're born. So you've chosen to be alive at this time when the world is changing in the most powerful way it's changed in over 1,000 years. It's a massive change that's going on. A whole new world is being created. And you're here to play a role in that. That's why you chose to come here at this time. So at the very least, your role is to shine light and to look at these situations that are going on in the world, and instead of putting hate or judgment or anything else like that, just to give love to those energies. That's the very least we can do in this situation. And some of you, that's all you've come to do is to hold that energy, because the more people that hold that energy, the more of a shift there will be. Now, I have a belief when it comes to, there's a lot of people talking about, galactics coming to save us and rescue us and all the rest of it and coming to put their energy in. And I believe that their energy is already here and they will have a say in what's going on or have some guidance to what's going on. But I do believe what's happening is the world, is the solar system, the galaxy is waiting for humanity to make the tip. And I believe we're almost there. And that tip is when more people want love on this planet than want to live in fear. And of course, the powers that be are doing everything they can to keep us in fear, because when we're in fear, we're very easily controlled and we're very easily frightened into things and made to do things we don't want to do. But when we stand in love, we stand in confidence and we stand in that knowing this is right or this is wrong for me. So we're already seeing this happen all around the world. If you watch the alternative news reels rather than what you see on the mainstream news, we're seeing, Iran, Israel, places all over the world, massive protests going on because people are stepping into their power. And this is exactly what happened 150 years ago in the American Civil War and in the French Revolution. The people are taking their power back. And so because Aries is ruled by Mars, Mars is the planet of war. So it will be, I believe it will be unavoidable for there to be more conflict to coming up. That it kind of has to, that energy has to use itself up, which is unfortunate because there's always a better way to deal with things. But because we've got this energy of action and taking action, and I'm right and everybody else is wrong, we've got to move sort of through that to find the equilibrium, to find that balance between taking our power back and doing what is the right thing and not making it all about you and what you might want and what is the best thing for you. So, so Aries energy, wherever the Aries energy sits in your chart, will be where you're going to be feeling that this Aries influence, and where you're going to be stepping out of the illusion and putting yourself first. And so, wherever that Aries energy sits in your chart, it's going to become easier for you to speak up, to step up, and to want to take the lead or to do your own thing. So, so I've actually gone through. So, most of you, I would think all of you have a copy of your natal chart somewhere. Svetlana, do you have one? You do, good. And everybody else, yeah, you've all worked with me before, so you all should have it. So I'm going to read through these, and you'll have the recording. So afterwards, you can go and have a look at your chart and see where it's going to affect you, or where it's going to, be happening in your chart for you. So the first, so Aries, when he's going through the first house. So let me just quickly, what I'm going to do is pop up a chart on the screen for you so you can get a basic idea of what I'm talking about. Now, this chart is, I thought, now whose chart can I put up on the screen that's somebody that everybody will know, but not personal, so that they don't want people to know. So this is Mick Jagger's chart. And we all know who Mick Jagger is, don't we, from the Rolling Stones? Interesting thing I did observe, this first time I've ever looked at his chart, he's got nothing in his 10th house, which is your house of career and being in the public eye. Well, he's got a south node there, so it's not nothing. But you would expect someone that famous to have a lot of planets up here, but it just goes to show that being famous was part of his destiny, but not the entire part of his destiny. His communication was his most important part. But anyway, so when I'm asking you to look at your charts later, so we're looking for Aries energy. So when we look at Mick Jagger's chart, you can see his Aries energy sits up here above his 11th house. So when I talk you through each of these and you look at your own charts, if some of you have got a good understanding of astrology, some of you not so much. What you're looking at is this outside ring around here, and you're looking for the symbol of Aries and which house it sits over. Now, in some cases, you might have Aries energy. He's got it only over his 11th house, but as you can see in his 10th house, he's got a mixture of two energies, and both of you could have, and all of you could have that as well. But it's only the Aries energy you need to look at right now as we talk through this. So when if Neptune, if you have Aries energy in your first house down here, house number one, this is your house of self. Everything that's about you individually, what you believe in, how you look, what you resonate with, what your individual thing is in this lifetime. And so when you've got Aries energy, Neptune going through that part of your chart, the illusion that you have to see through is the self-doubt of self-belief. So when there's Aries energy over the first house, we have the positive side of Aries and then we have the shadow side. So when we're working through something, we're working through that, both sides of it. So it's like I said before, with that's that overinflation or the underinflation of the Aries energy. So when he's in your first house, you can run the risk of overinflating that energy and being very egotistical and very ego driven, and it's all about me and I have to have everything for myself. Or you could be too scared to do that and think, oh no, I can't put my hand up, I can't speak up, I'll just step back and let everybody else step over me. So you're going to have to work through, if you've got that Aries energy in the first house, work through very much when to take action, when not to. When can I be in charge? When should I take a step back? When is it important for me to speak up about what's important and what is real to me? And when do I need to shut up and just be quiet and let other people speak? So that will be important for anyone who's got that Aries energy over the first house. So it will give you though, if you're if you've got Aries energy over your first house, you would usually find, even if you're a quiet little Virgo, that you would have quite a bit of fire in your belly. And so it's going to really bring out that fire in your belly. And so if you've been a little bit subservient up until now, or a little bit, inclined to put other people's needs ahead of your own and not yours, then that's going to change. You're going to find it a lot easier to go, pick me. I know what to do here. But it may take you a few years to get through that because you've got to see through the illusion of how you can use your power or where your power sits. If Neptune is going to be transiting across your second house, if you've got Aries in your second house is your house of money and security and self-worth. So the illusion that you're going to be working through there is whether you believe you're good enough to make the money that you want to make, whether you think you're talented enough, whether you think you're gifted enough to be able to manifest or bring in the money that you want. And that's what's going to, so that's the shadow there. And the other thing you might be learning there as well, because of the Aries energy, is how to be more practical with your money as well and not be illusional about it. How do I make my money work for me? So it's going to put a lot of pressure on you. Very much, people with Aries energy over their second house, one of the major things they're here to learn is that your sense of self-worth and self-belief dictates how much money you can attract in this lifetime. So if you think you're useless at what you do, if you don't believe in yourself, if you only half-heartedly put your energy into what you do, then that's what the universe will give back to you. So people, with that Aries energy over their second house are going to have to do a lot of work on their sense of self-worth and self-belief. And they might be challenged because of that. You might find that you're in a job where, everyone around you, but you get a pay rise. And you're going to have to speak up and do something about it. And up until then, you could have, just let that go and thought, oh, well, obviously they don't think I'm worth a pay rise. But once that Neptune hits that part of your chart, you're going to be much more inclined to actually go, no, I need to be included in this. I need to be recognized here as well. So you've got to start with you. We can't expect people to believe in us if we treat ourselves, if we keep our gifts a secret, and if we don't put a worth on ourselves. It's got to start with you first. So that could be a big challenge for anyone with Aries energy over their second house. The third house is the house of communication and siblings. And so the shadow of Aries moving through here is that you will be inclined to want to take over conversations. You're going to everybody has to listen to you because you have all the right words to say and all the right knowledge and all the know everything. It's a bit of a know-it-all placement when you've got Aries energy across the third house. It's I know everything and everybody else has to listen to me. So the big challenge for anyone with Neptune moving through that part of their chart is the ability to speak, is just know when to speak up and when to step back and listen. But Neptune is a very creative energy too. So when he moves through that third house, it will also give most anyone who's got Aries energy there the ability to be a lot more creative in their communication. So it could be that all of your life that you have, maybe you went to school and you were quite good at poetry and creative writing, and then of course you went off and became an accountant or something. And with that Neptune moves through there again, it could spark that old love or that old gift or talent that you've hidden away there of creative writing. You might suddenly realize that you can sing, that you can write poetry, that you can write music, that you can do all of these things you didn't realize you had because you hadn't seen the importance of them before. Because one of the things that Neptune and Aries will do is make us more aware of what's important to us. And these can often be things that, because we've been under this illusion, we haven't realized how important it is, how important a certain person is in your life, or how important a certain perspective is in your life. And so it will give you that ability to bring out those parts of you that are empowered, because we have to step back into our own personal power during this year. So with Aries energy across that third house, you will be able to speak up, and you will, if you haven't been a confident person up until then about speaking up and speaking your truth, when Neptune moves through there, it'll become a lot easier for you to do so. It might take a little bit of time, of course, as you see through the illusion of, can I speak up? Is anyone going to listen to me? But you will soon find that as the confidence grows in you to do so, the opportunities to do so will also be given to you. The fourth house is the house of home and family. So when Neptune moves across the fourth house, It can be very much the shadow there is knowing your place within the family and when to exercise your power. So a lot of people who've got strong Aries energy in their fourth house like to take charge within the home and family. They like to be the one that makes the rules, that organizes everything, that says how things are going to work and how they're not going to work. And of course, when Neptune goes through there, that's going to be challenged or rattled in a little bit for you, where probably what you'll find is people in your family around you won't want to listen to that anymore. They won't let you take charge anymore. They won't let you be the person that demands everything anymore. They're going to step up too. And you've got to learn to listen. You've got to learn when it's your turn to take the lead and be the person that looks after the family, and when it's time for you to take a step back and allow someone else to take charge. And you're allowing other people to take charge because there's more than one way of doing this, of looking after things. And you can't think, and this is one of the challenges of Aries energy, you can't always be right. Aries, the fire signs are the leadership signs of the zodiac, but they all lead in very different ways. So with Aries, the Aries way of leadership is my way or the highway. And that's a very strong, strong energy. There's not a lot of flexibility there. So I don't know, those of you who've got Arians in your life may have become quite aware of how inflexible Arians can be at times. But at the same time, they get things done. That action that they take, they don't sit around procrastinating and wondering and deliberating. They get on with things. It may not always be the right action that they take, but at least they get out there and do it. So we're all going to find with this energy as well that we're more inclined to take action rather than sit around wondering is this right for me? Is it not right for me?
Okay. Okay.
In the fifth house, when Neptune's going to be transiting the fifth house in Aries, the shadows that's there will be could be romantic illusions. The fifth house is the house of creativity, children, fun, romance, sport, and animals. So when Neptune's moving through there in Aries, because it's going to focus on the romantic part of it, again, illusions with, Neptune is the planet of illusion. So when he's moving through there in Aries, what people might find is that they become quite obsessed with the chase. It's all about, oh, I've seen that person. I really want to ask them out. I really want to go out with them or be with them or whatever it might be. And you can kind of become a bit infatuated with this person and getting them as a word to use. I don't think it's the right word to use, but getting them into bed, getting them into a date, getting them into something. And so you chase after them and you chase after them with this Aries energy of I want. And then you get them and you don't know what to do with it. Oh, now that I've got the prize that I was after, it doesn't mean anything because it was all about the chase. It wasn't actually about the catch at all. So we've got to be careful if you've got Aries energy in your fifth house and you're single or married, because someone could just pop into your life that takes you away spontaneously. Just be aware that we are under the age of illusion. Still with that Neptune energy, there's still illusion there, and you've got to do your due diligence. Because what could happen very easily with that energy is you could be quite happily married, and some person comes into your life and just sweeps you off your feet, but only for that to not last, and it just to be something perhaps your marriage needed that or whatever. But yeah, it will be challenging, definitely. And because it's also the area of children, with that Aries energy there, you may have issues with your children during this time if you've got Aries energy sitting there, because you might want to take more charge of their lives, and especially if they're like teenagers or something and are going through that phase of don't tell me what to do, then it's not going to like it very much. So there could be a lot of conflict there with children as well if you're going to take over and try and rule their lives. When it comes to creativity and sport, with that Neptune energy there, again, Neptune's a creative planet, so it would tend to activate the creative side of us, but then Aries is a much more physical energy, so that would also activate the physical side of us or the sporty side of us too. So it'd be very competitive energy as it moves through there, especially if you're a sporty person. You'll be finding that anything you want to get involved with there, you're not going to be wanting to just play things for fun. You're going to be wanting to play to win. So it's a good energy to go after what you want, but pick what you want carefully. And if you've got Aries energy in your sixth house, which is your house of health and healing and work and service, the shadow or the challenge or the illusion that you're going to have to work through there is that you're not going to like being told what to do. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So when it sits in that house of work, you really want to be the boss at work, or you want to be have individual responsibilities. You will not want to be a cog in the wheel, just having some menial task that pays the bills. It'll work for a little while, but again, you'll be seeing through the illusion. Perhaps you've already been doing that for a little while, stuck in this job that you don't particularly like, but it pays the bills. And then Neptune moves through there in Aries, and you start to feel that there's more. that I could do more here. I could step up more. I could get a different job doing the same thing, but that earns me more money or gives me more independence in some way. So that you will be starting to see through any illusions within your job to see whether that is the right use of your energy. So it could be a great time over these next few years. And I think with the changes that are coming with AI and things like that, there will be a lot of jobs that were very, that lots of people used to do that won't exist anymore. But new ones can be invented because we're working through a new way of being. So there'll be a lot more independence. If you've got Aries energy over your sixth house, you'll be looking for a lot more independence in the workplace and possibly a lot more power there too. But the sixth house is also the house of health and healing. So with Aries energy there, what you will find if you have any health concerns, that you will probably get sick very quickly, but then you will bounce back again very quickly. Because like Aries is a quick energy, it doesn't stay stuck in things for long. So any illnesses that may come your way should be fairly short-lived. Aries rules the head area. So, what you might find, any weaknesses you may have during Neptune moving through there could be headaches, migraines, tension in the head, and actually spending too much time in your head. So, that's something to be aware of too, because Neptune wants you to fantasize, it wants you to imagine and create and get inside your head. But, what we know is when we get too stuck inside our heads, we start telling ourselves stories that often aren't true that we make up about what's going on around us, and then it turns into some sort of fantasy story that we end up believing in, and it starts this whole chain of emotional reactions. So it will be important with that Aries energy there that you deal with things very quickly, very swiftly, and but also to be aware of sort of spreading your wings there and what else you could be doing. When Neptune is going to transit in Aries across, if you've got Aries energy in your seventh house, which is your house of partnerships. Now, this is your house of business partnerships and or marriages. It's the important one-on-one relationships in our lives. So when he transits across there, the illusion that we're looking for is it's really that you're learning lessons in that there's two people in this partnership, not just you. Because where there's Aries energy in the areas of partnerships, you want to take the lead. In fact, most people who've got Aries energy in their seventh house would not probably be very successful in any business partnership because they'd always want to take the lead, unless they were in a business partnership where the other partner was only a financial investor or what do you call it, a sleeping partner or something like that. It won't. But if it's someone who wants to share the workload or wants to be as involved in it as you are, it's not going to work with that Aries energy. So if you're thinking of going into a business partnership and you've got Aries energy across your seventh house, my advice would be not to do it at this stage because it just there'll be 5 years of illusion as to who's in charge. And then you might work out who's in charge. But by the time the final 5 years come, I think you'll both be so sick of each other that it's not going to work anyway. So just be aware that it might not be the best use of your energy. If you're already in a partnership, business partnership, and you've got that Aries energy there, it could bring up problems within that partnership where you suddenly feel you're doing more than they are, or you want more power than they have, or you want to make more decisions than what you do at the time. So it could be a challenging time for partnerships. In a romantic partnership, it will be very much about realizing that, like I said before, there's two people in this partnership, and we have to work together. Partnerships are all about equality. There are times in a partnership where one partner needs to step up and take charge, and other times where they take a step back and the other partner does. To me, that's how a partnership probably works the most successfully, when one person isn't playing the role of the dominating partner, when it's actually being shared. Because that's, life is meant to be an equal thing in partnerships in particular. So Aries energy will put that on edge a little bit because it wants control, it wants to come first. And with the eighth house, now the eighth house is a very complicated house. It's the house of everything that we share with other people, particularly from a financial or asset point of view, but it's also the house of metaphysics. And whenever Neptune is transiting the eighth house, it absolutely stimulates our metaphysical knowledge and interest. So, what we will find with Neptune, if you've got Aries energy in your eighth house, you'll become a lot more drawn to the spiritual and the metaphysical world. And you'll be drawn to it because you want to learn more about it, but also because you want to play a role in it. You want to use that energy to help yourself in some way. So that could be anything from learning astrology to just starting to read a few books about something so you can start to include things a bit more in your life. But it will really allow you to see where you can take the lead in your own life on the metaphysical path. But because it's the area of what we share with other people, in particular our shared resources and assets and money and things like that, with that Aries energy there and Neptune going through there, it would probably not be a good idea for you to be borrowing money or investing money with other people unless you have really done your due diligence. Because the Neptune will create a little bit of an illusion there, and Aries will be going, just go for it right now, do it. But that's not always a great idea, especially when it's involving our money and our assets. So if you do need to borrow money or need to invest in something over the next 14 years, do your due diligence. That will be a very, very important because, like I said, Neptune there will be putting a bit of an illusion over it, and Aries just wants to take action. Now, the eighth house is also the house of life and death. So when we have Aries energy there, Aries energy can often bring, very sudden and unexpected, very black and white things happening. And so it could also be a time for if you've got Aries energy there where you have to deal with some people passing around you, or it could be more births around you. It could be go either way. And part of that is the learning of the cycle of life. And that, people come, people go. We just go to other planes of existence, other ways of living, other ways of being, rather than, our physical body goes, but our soul is still there. So there could be a lot of learning for you there. And you might have to learn that through the experiences of losing somebody. The ninth house is our house of spirit, higher learning, and overseas travel. So this illusion that we have to work through there is to do often, I would say, with the Aries energy, very much to do with stickability. Because with that ninth house, higher learning is when we choose to learn something. So when we've got Aries energy there, we can just be like a little bit like, oh, that's exciting, and oh, I want to do that, and I want to do everything. I want to get involved in everything that's going on. They're all important, and I want to do them all. But you can't do everything. And we've also, remember, we've got Uranus about to move into Gemini permanently for the next 7 years, which will bring lots and lots of change, constant change over the next 7 years. And so, with that going on in the background as well, we've all got to learn to be a lot more discerning. So, with that Aries energy, Aries energy is very good at applying itself to something and getting from A to B, but it can, a bit like Gemini energy, it can lose interest. And so we've got to be careful that whatever you're going to choose to focus on to advance yourself in some way is something you're going to stick to. It's not just going to be some pipe dream or something you dip your toe into for 5 minutes. You're going to see it through. And this could be also being the area of overseas travel, could also be that as well, that suddenly you just want to travel, you want to be going places and doing things, which is great. Absolutely do that if that's what you're feeling. But again, awareness of, am I being too spontaneous? Is this the right time to do this? Is this the right person to do it with, or is this the right place to be going to? You've got to actually think into things a lot more with that Aries energy across that ninth house. And from a spiritual perspective, you'd have to be a little bit careful that it doesn't make you sort of, with Neptune and Aries, Neptune is our spiritual awareness, and when he's in Aries, we can be very black and white. So we could be quite stuck on a certain type of religion, like only Catholicism is the way forward, or only Anglican is the way forward, rather than realizing that it's being spiritual is a much more open way of working with the God energy than actually applying it to a particular religion. So, it could be that you get quite, really do decide there's a certain, you want to become a Buddhist, you want to practice Buddhism, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, of course. But with Neptune and Aries there, it would be better for you to explore more and look at the big picture rather than just focusing on one way of looking at spirituality. When Neptune transits Aries through the 10th house, which is the house of your career and being in the public eye, it will be very important for you to be aware of your position there. Because once again, like when he moves through the 6th house of work, you're not going to be happy or comfortable being in a subordinate position. You're going to want to step up. So it's going to be really great energy. If you've been waiting for an opportunity to increase your responsibility, to get a promotion, to work your way up the ladder, then this will be a great time for you to do it with Neptune moving through Aries. However, again, we've got that illusion of Neptune sort of, so it might just be that you might sort of see a job that you're capable of and it pays a lot more money. And so you suddenly decide, right, I'm going to drop what I'm doing now and I'm going to go and get that job because of the money. And you're forgetting that that job might come with more money, but it might be a really miserable job. It might not be something you really don't enjoy doing, or in a terrible place, or working with people that you're not going to enjoy. So again, you've got to not be too spontaneous in what you're doing, but not be afraid to step up and speak up and take the lead. But again, do your due diligence. Don't just leap into things because it suddenly looks more exciting than what you've got now. The grass is not always greener
Yeah.
on the other side. And so that can be that illusion of importance. So, I need this job. I need to be in charge because I've been here this long. And but also that undervaluing of yourself as well, and not having the courage to step up and think that you're good enough to take on the role of the CEO or whatever it might be. So it could be good opportunities for you to step up, but you've got to have the confidence and the belief in yourself to do so. And when Neptune is transiting the 11th house in Aries, like it is in Mick Jagger's chart, then it's a very competitive placement. So probably I would say with old Mick Jagger, it wouldn't surprise me. I know that they put out a lot of music and a lot of albums anyway, but I would sort of say with that 11th house thing, it wouldn't surprise me if they come up with a whole new album and your whole new regime, maybe even a tour. I'm pretty sure they don't tour anymore, but you never know with that energy there. It might make him sort of feel like, right, I've got to get out there because that's your area of being social. It's about your area of being seen, of being a part of things and bringing things to other people. And so he might not be able to resist the temptation of Neptune moving through there to get himself back out there again. So, with that energy, you're wanting to be a part of things, but you're feeling very competitive. You're not wanting to be a part of things just for shits and giggles. You're doing it because you want success there in some way. You want to be recognized. But because the 11th house is also our area, house of hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future, we've got to, with that Aries energy, you could become quite fixated on what you want to achieve. So that will give you a lot of energy to get something over the line and to achieve what your goals or whatever you're going after. But with that Aries energy, Aries isn't all that flexible. And when we set ourselves goals for the future, much as we would like them to turn out exactly the way that we want, we have to be flexible. Sometimes it's going to take longer than we think it is. Sometimes it's going to need more energy than we think it is. And sometimes it's going to need something more than what we've got. So we've got to have that flexibility. With that Aries energy there, you could set a goal and think, right, I'm going to do this within a year. And then you get to the end of that year and you haven't achieved it. And with that Aries energy, you'll throw it out the back door. You won't even think, okay, well, maybe it just needed a little bit longer. Maybe I needed to work a little bit harder. It's that black and white. No, that didn't work. Out it goes. So we've got to be careful we don't become too disposable with our friends, with our interests, and with anything that we feel isn't working for us. Sometimes things need time, and we've got to take a step back then and just allow things to play out and see if it is the right thing for us or not. And finally, when Neptune's going to transit Aries in the 12th house, if you've got Aries energy in your 12th house, then one of the big challenges will really be that you will not like authority being put over you in any way. Whenever there's Aries energy in the 12th house, it usually means that in other lifetimes you've had a lot of power or you've been put down a lot. And so there's often this need to fight back. And so when people try and have authority over you, and that you won't tolerate it. So you'll be, a policeman pulls you over for speeding, and you're going to argue with them and say, no, I wasn't doing it. You're wrong. And that's never going to get you anywhere. So you've got to really be aware of picking your battles with that Aries energy through there. Because the 12th house is our karma, our deep hidden emotion, and our past life energy. So with Neptune moving through there, he's also going to activate past life energy and karmic energy that needs to be repaid in some way. So, what you need to be very aware of, because of what happens when we're dealing with past life stuff, is we get triggered in our daily lives. And so, it might be that somebody, say you're in a relationship with somebody and they end that relationship. And so you get triggered, your wound of abandonment or your wound of rejection gets triggered in some way. And so you're going to react to what's going on now. But what it actually is an opportunity for you to look at where that rejection has come into your life before, to work back through your history to find the original wound of rejection. Now, with that 12th house, that original wound could very well be a past life wound that you've brought through with you into this lifetime. But you're going to get a lot more awareness about, why is it, that shadow of Aries in the 12th house is, why do I, and deeply within myself, believe that I'm not good enough? Why do I believe within myself that I can't do my own thing and stand on my own 2 feet? And why do I believe that I can't take responsibility and be in charge of other people? Those are the sort of the wounds or the triggers that are going to come up for you with that Aries energy. And so it's up to you to then step into your power and start to really work on that inner wound and, sort of tell yourself, in other lifetimes I was treated this way and it might not have been good for me, but in this lifetime I'm not going to be like that. I'm not that person. I'm not going to allow that. And I don't need rejection. I don't need abandonment because I love myself. So as we step into our power, the main thing we have to step into is our self-love. We can't just be being all powerful and all in charge and it's all about me and doing it from a space of judgment or hate or ego or anything that's negative in any way or fear. I mean, the opposite of fear is love, and we've got to bring that love energy in. And that's what I'm saying before, that when the world tips more into that love energy, we will get the support that we need, and that will hopefully, will definitely help us from the galactics around us. But we have to keep working on that love energy. And when we look at, all the things going on in the world at the moment, it's hard. It's really hard to stay in that energy because it's hard not to judge what's going on. But as soon as you put your energy into what's going on, you add to that energy. So it's best to observe and not absorb in every way. Okay, let me just drop this down now. Now, has anybody got any questions? Anything they'd like to ask me about Neptune and Aries? And I don't have your charts in front of me, so I can't answer any absolute personal questions. But if you've got anything else you'd like to ask about how you could use that energy in your life, pop your hand up and ask me a question. No? Okay. Oh, yes, you're on mute, Svetlana. You're muted. There we go.
Just a question. I've just had a look at mine. I
Oh,
don't
good.
have, I don't seem to have anything in Aries. So what does that
Yay!
mean?
That means that the energy won't be affecting you as strongly as it will affect other people who've got planets in Aries. Because
Okay,
when
cool.
Neptune moves over that planet, hits the same degree that that planet in somebody's chart in Aries is sitting in, it triggers the work that the learning of that planet. So when you've got nothing there, what house is it in?
Second.
Second. So it'll be about, yeah, mine's in the second, my Aries is the second house too. So it's about you self-belief. So
Mm,
if you want to, it's about you being able to manifest and create what you want in this lifetime, security-wise, money-wise, for yourself, through a strong sense of belief that you are good enough to bring that in, to manifest whatever you need. But with no planets there, it shouldn't be too much of a challenge for you.
excellent. Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Any- yes, Linda.
Um, Mine, both Saturn and Neptune will be transiting in probably in a probably couple of years or a year or two with
Yeah.
my natal Jupiter.
Oh, with Jupiter over your
Mhm.
natal Jupiter.
Pardon
Yeah, so
me?
yeah, so that for you will very much with when Neptune moves across Jupiter. I mean, those are the the biggest planets in the, so it should be a very positive time, but it will ask you to see through any illusions you have about what's stopping you from believing in your own abilities and gifts.
Go
Yeah, and
back to the
Saturn, of course,
self-worth
I'm going to
issue.
do another masterclass on Saturn when they both join together because that will be really strong. But that's not till the 14th of February when that actually happens. I haven't. I'll let you know when I'm going to run the masterclass on it. And that's when those two come together. I mean, they're already together at the moment, but when they both come together in that 0 degrees of Aries, it's going to be there'll be a big shift. There'll be a big physical shift on the Earth plane of some sort. It could be physical, as in it could be there could be a big earthquake somewhere or something like that, or it could be another big uprising somewhere. But something significant will definitely happen as this energy pours in.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Oh, well, thank you all for joining me today. And, just as we move forward into this energy, we're still up until I believe that up until the end of February, we're pretty much still in that Pisces energy, even though Neptune's changing soon and so is Saturn, because the planets, once they change signs, take a little bit of time to settle into that sign. So it can be quite, the minute they hit that sign, there can be things that happen, but often it can take a few days or whatever. So we're still in that time of creating, imagining, fantasizing, wondering, what do I want? What do you want to get off the ground in 2026 and forward? What do you really want? What is that dream? What's that ideal? Keep dreaming, keep fantasizing, keep creating, keep thinking about it. And then come the end of February, when both of those planets are firmly in Aries, you will get the clarity that you've been waiting for to see how it's going to work. Because right now we're still in that creating, imagining phase. We haven't got the clue, or the not the clues, the tools just yet. But it'll be like, I sort of believe, the end of February. For some people, it might be quite an epiphany, like, oh, that's how it's going to work. But you'll suddenly see, okay, if I want this in my life, this is what I have to do. Whereas at the moment, it's like, this is what I really want. This is what I really want, but I don't know quite how to make it work. How do I manifest this? But we will get those tools, because that Aries energy, because it's so black and white, it cuts through the fog. It cuts through the, oh, I don't know what to do, or it looks like this and I'm not sure. It just cuts through that and goes, take action, do something. And one other thing is that, be open to change. If you make a decision to do something and you think it's the right thing for you and it doesn't work out, change it. Don't get stuck in, I failed, it was the wrong idea, I've really stuffed up, or anything like that. It's just change. And sometimes we get really pulled to do things in life, and it is the right thing for us, but it might not be quite the right time for it. So something that's really important to you, you might start to get off the ground, and then it sort of peters out. And that's basically the universe saying, don't give up on this. This is great, but it's just not for now. Stick it on the back burner, come back to it another time. And this is where this discernment comes in, and I think one of the best things to do with all the ideas and thoughts that you have is put them on paper. When we write something down and look at it in black and white, it makes a hell of a lot more sense than it does when it's going round and round in your head. You can look at something and go, well, that's a load of rubbish, that's not going to work. Or you can look and go, yes, that's what I need to do. And it'll be a lot clearer to you. So keep dreaming, keep imagining whatever it is you want for your next year and 9 years, and then we'll get the structure and the ability to put it all together in come February, March time. Okay. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and I'll see you all another time. Bye.
Yeah.